This Week in Fish and Wildlife, sponsored by your local Montana Toyota dealers.
Thursday morning, time once again for This Week in Fish and Wildlife. Once again, we're at Region 3 headquarters with Morgan Jacobson. Some encouraging news on the invasive species, the mussel infestation that we've been talking about. Tiber Reservoir, Canyon Ferry. I know there'd been a long study going on with that. Some encouraging news coming off of Canyon Ferry, isn't there?
Yeah, so the launch restrictions on Canyon Ferry were recently lifted. And so what that means for boaters is, previously, since there was a suspect detection for invasive mussels at Canyon Ferry, boaters had to get an inspection as they came off of Canyon Ferry and get a decontamination before launching elsewhere. Those restrictions have now been lifted. We've had 3 years of testing and haven't found any suspect or positive results for invasive mussels at Canyon Ferry, and so we're excited to lift those restrictions.
And this inspection has been pretty thorough. I mean, thousands of inspections just last year.
Yeah, in fact, roughly 7,000 boats were inspected coming off of Canyon Ferry last year. It's been a really rigorous process to protect our waters here in Montana from aquatic invasive species. We want boaters to know that we're still on guard for those invasive species. A lot of the other restrictions that we currently have to prevent that spread are still in place. So if you're coming in from out of state, or if you're traveling west across the Continental Divide, or if you're coming off of Tiber Reservoir, you still need an inspection before, when you're in those circumstances. So, we want people to be aware that, we still want to prevent the spread of aquatic invasive species, but we're really glad that we can lift these restrictions at Canyon Ferry.
I would say that it goes without saying then we're still going to follow that clean, drain, dry mantra that's been going around. It certainly can't hurt.
Oh, absolutely. We still encourage people, no matter where they launch or where they recreate, to always clean, drain, and dry their equipment. Invasive mussels aren't the only species that we're looking out for, and so if you care about the waters where you recreate, we really want people to keep that in mind. Clean, drain, and dry your equipment every time.
And I'm sure if folks have any questions, the website has all the information that you'd possibly need to know about aquatic invasive species.
Yeah, so all the inspection stations that'll be operating throughout this next season, all the information about aquatic invasive species in Montana can be found at cleandraindrymt.com. And again, if people have questions beyond that, they're welcome to contact Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks.
That's perfect. Again, Morgan Jacobson joining us this morning, talking about some good news on Canyon Ferry involving those invasive mussels. Morgan, thank you very much. And that's This Week in Fish and Wildlife.
This Week in Fish and Wildlife was sponsored by Toyota. Let's go places.
Well, thank you very much. As I mentioned, joining us live this morning, Beth Weatherby, Chancellor here at Montana Western. Beth, Montana University System is coming to town. What does that mean for the Montana Western campus to have the university system come here? I know it happens on a regular basis, but I mean, what does it mean for your campus to have everybody here this next couple of days?
Well, we get to host that meeting every 2 years, as do the other campuses. It's such a great idea because then the commissioner and all of his staff and the regents and all of the our friends and colleagues from around Montana get to come to campus and learn more about Montana Western and see what we're all about. And then we do it at the other campuses. It's a great opportunity. Our students are here hosting the student leadership from around the campus. Our faculty host the faculty leadership. It's a lot of fun, and it's a great opportunity to get the word out.
I would think this is a great opportunity, though, too. Every campus in the Montana University system is unique. It has something different about it. But Montana Western has something that's truly unique, not just to Montana, but to the nation as far as it goes, is Experience One. And the ability for some of those maybe new board members or new members of faculty or that, a chance to show them in action. That's got to be really exciting for you.
Yeah, and so Experience One, for those of you who don't know, is basically experiential learning, one course at a time. So we're the only public university in the United States where the students take one course for 18 days for 3 hours a day, have a little break, 4-day block break, and then they take the next course. And that really allows them to do learning by doing, active learning, internships, travel, all of the things that we know work for students. So it's been incredibly successful for our students. And what's interesting this time, Chet, is that rather than being on the block break while the regents are here, our students are here. They're taking finals and doing their capstone projects and presentations today. So they're, usually the students have been gone and on those breaks, and now they're here.
Well, that's
So I'm
fantastic.
excited about that.
That's fantastic. Again, Beth Weatherby joining us this morning, Chancellor at Montana Western for the next 2 days, a host for the Montana Board of Regents, Commissioner of Higher Education, community members and all of that. What are you looking forward to? We're just going to make this real quick. What are you looking forward to coming out of this next couple of days?
Well, our opportunity is to talk a little bit about Montana Western and the great things that have happened here in the last couple of years since they were last here. And then we're also highlighting the Montana Youth Challenge Academy. So the director, Trent Gibson, who's one of our alums, will be doing a presentation about the Montana Youth Challenge, which is just such an extraordinary program, and we're just so proud to have that program on our campus.
That's fantastic. Again, Chancellor Beth Weatherby joining us live this morning. We are live on the Dillon campus all morning long as the Board of Regents get ready to kick off their meeting. Beth, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
It's sincerely our pleasure.
day.
We're going to take a quick break. Much more Montana this morning, right after this.
I'm Vinny Politan. Coming up today on Court TV, day 2 of the long-anticipated trial of Robert Durst. He was the subject of the HBO docuseries The Jinx. He's been charged with a murder from back in 2000, but prosecutors in this case are going to link him to 3 different homicides. It's day 2, but it's just opening statements and the opening statement of the prosecutor. That's today from Los Angeles, right here on Court TV.
Watch Court TV anytime at CourtTV.com. Now, here's your Storm Tracker weather forecast with meteorologist Matt Elwell.
Good morning, current time 6:24. Another beautiful start to the day. It's just going to be a little more chilly, less wind for the afternoon. We're giving it a B+ for our school day forecast grade. Temperature should be into the mid to upper 40s by the late afternoon. It's going to be a beautiful start to the day. Temperatures are going to be a little chillier. Skies are fairly clear. Our coldest temperature out toward West Yellowstone, but most of us are holding strong into the 20s. Beautiful sunrise this morning. Looking over the Bridgers, beautiful conditions conditions for the afternoon as well, as our daytime highs build back into the mid to upper 40s to low 50s for the afternoon. We're looking at above average temperatures both east and west of the divide, with lots of sunshine, just a few afternoon clouds expected to build into our area. Right now, fairly clear for most of Montana. The only area that's really seeing the thicker cloud cover over into extreme northwest Montana, out toward Kalispell, Cut Bank, those areas. Our next 24 hours are going to stay mild temperature-wise. Very little in, potential for any type of moisture through Friday until you get into Saturday. That's when we see our next cold front moving in. It'll likely drop those temperatures throughout the day on Saturday, and we'll probably have a little wind associated with it as well. Mostly sunny skies and breezy conditions between 10 and 20 miles an hour for the wind speeds for most of the area. Our next couple of days, our temperatures are very enjoyable into the mid to upper 50s. Great time to get outside, get a little of that extra early yard work done, as we're watching a lot of the snow disappear from our yards pretty quickly. Saturday, you'll see that next system moving in. In fact, I think Sunday we could see some showers, rain showers in West Yellowstone.
That would be a welcome sight, probably, versus the snow, right?
I don't know. If you live in West, you like the snow.
I guess that's true. Always thinking glass half full.
That's right.
What we always do. All right, thanks, Matt. And I'm next on Montana This Morning. A Butte businessman throws his hat into the ring for the race for chief executive. We'll introduce you to him coming up.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
I'm Mike Dennison in Helena. Montana's U.S. Senate race may be getting a lot more attention.
MSU's pop-up gyms were built to replace the gyms that collapsed last winter. I'm Cody Boyer. Someone may have tried to pop them.
Just ahead of 6:30 now, back here in Montana this morning, Caitlin Corbett, Matt Elwell, and as we've been saying all day, not as windy today, which is very nice. Good day for the hair.
Better day for the hair. We're still going to have
day.
some wind. Daytime temperatures building this afternoon into the 40s, even 50s, but the morning is still a bit on the chilly side. We don't have a ton of wind, but it is making a difference. A lot of the wind chill temperatures down into the single digits potentially for the early morning. 19 degrees our temperature now in Bozeman. I think by the afternoon we're talking mid and upper 40s. Lots of sunshine, a little bit of wind, but we do have some changes in our forecast pattern coming up. We'll of course talk more in depth about that in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you so much, Matt. And our Chet Lehman live in Dillon all morning covering the big Montana Board of Regents meeting. That's going on later today at Montana Western. Let's check in with Chet one more time. How's it going?
Well, that's right, Caitlin. You can see Montana Western hasn't put out the welcome mat. They put out the welcome flag. The Montana University system is going to be gathering here for the next couple of days for the Board of Regents meeting. As we heard Chancellor Weatherby say just a little bit ago, every 2 years Montana Western gets to host that, and this is their rotation. Coming up in just a couple minutes, we're going to chat with Commissioner of Higher Education, Clayton Christian, about a couple of things that are going to be discussed while we're here. We're going to talk about the Montana University's success agenda. That's a big thing that's been going on for a number of years here in the university system. We'll chat with him about that. Overall, talk about what's going to be going on here for the next couple of days on the Montana Western campus. Again, I am Chet Lehman. We are live all morning long in Dillon. And as I mentioned, coming up in just a couple minutes, we're going to chat with the Commissioner of Higher Education, Clayton Christian, live from Montana Western. Meantime, I'm going to send it back to you and Matt in the studio, Caitlin.
Thank you, Chet. Lots of exciting things going on in Dillon, so we'll check back in with Chet in just a little bit. 6:31 now. It looks like Montana's political landscape is about to undergo a seismic shift. The New York Times and the website Politico both report that Governor Steve Bullock is ready to enter the U.S. Senate race to challenge Republican Senator Steve Daines. MTN's chief political reporter Mike Dennison has been following the story as well and has this report.
Governor Bullock has been telling people for months he had no interest in challenging Senator Daines this year. But in the past month, national Democrats have upped the pressure on him to run, with personal contacts by former President Obama and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. The Times also reported Wednesday that Bullock's family appears more supportive of the idea. Montana State University political scientist David Parker also told MTN News that other factors may have contributed to Bullock's potential change of heart.
What made it a bit more acceptable to him was, one, looks like Joe Biden's going to potentially head the Democratic ticket. That's an easier lift, I think, for him to run statewide with Biden rather than Sanders at the top of the ticket. And the second thing is Bullock could be the hero. He could be this could be the seat that gives the Democrats the lift that they need.
Multiple sources have told MTN News this week that they expect him to announce on Monday, the last day for candidate filing, that he has changed his mind and will enter the contest. We called Bullock on Tuesday evening, but he had yet to reply by late Wednesday. And neither the governor nor anyone close to him has confirmed his plans. National Republicans quickly attacked Bullock on Wednesday. The National Republican Senatorial Committee said he lacks the character and values Montanans expect from a senator and cited his support for impeaching President Trump. But if Bullock does run, Parker says at a minimum it will be a huge help for Democrats up and down the ticket in Montana, from the governor's race to U.S. House to the legislature.
There's no way the Democrats could build a ground game without having a competitive Senate race in the ballot. If you get those resources, they can do it, and that's going to help people like Kathleen Williams. It's going to help the governor's race. It's going to help even some of these lower tier races. Game on. It's going to be a fun year. It's going to be an expensive year.
If Bullock gets into the Senate race, it goes from a few $1 million to tens of millions. One of the biggest U.S. Senate races in the country. Will he do it? We'll know by Monday. In Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Governor Steve Bullock was in Los Angeles yesterday promoting Montana as the perfect location for movies, TV, and commercials. The governor is hosting an event called Shoot with the Stars Under the Big Sky. It'll include a panel discussion with directors, writers, and producers who have worked on projects in Montana. The film industry brings in $10 to $15 million every year for Montana's economy. 6:34 now. Police at Montana State University are investigating after someone took a knife to one of the school's inflatable domes. MTN's Cody Boyer tells us what that means for those who use the space.
If you take a look here, you can see exactly why MSU and what MSU officials are confirming here. We have large pieces of board. We have other things that are patching together, stitches, all covering large slashes all across the north dome here, which replaces the north gym. And in this case, now that this has happened, now the north dome is closed too.
Someone overnight cut some slashes into the side, which of course caused us to jump into repair mode.
They are the large inflatable domes meant to help students after their old gyms collapsed last February. MSU officials say someone tried to pop one.
It's an inconvenience for sure, and it has forced a couple of classes to have to relocate.
MSU's news service director Michael Becker says that comes at a cost, another closed sign.
Our pressure is stable. We're just, as an abundance of precaution, we are keeping them closed until permanent repairs are made.
When I get here early in the morning, I hear people inside, and I think the ROTC does their workouts in there.
MSU professor Rob Maher says during his 18 years here, the old gyms had become a routine for him. The pop-ups a good substitute until this happened.
I'm of course appalled to even think of that somebody would decide to vandalize things, and so I'm hopeful that will be repaired quickly.
Moving quickly, it took at least several people to put these boards up along the south side of the North Dome to cover up that long slash that you see taken in a photo here. But if you stop and listen, that's air. But as Becker says, there's nothing to worry about.
These domes have a lot of sensors inside of them, so when the damage occurred, we got low pressure warnings relatively quickly thereafter, and crews were over here right away.
And while the dome has to stay closed temporarily, Becker says the structure is sound.
We're prepared for situations like this.
At the latest, the dome should be open by Monday of next week after contractors come in and provide permanent repairs to these temporary ones. But as of this point, suspects have not been caught in this case. In Bozeman, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
6:36 now over in Butte. Butte's Council of Commissioners heard a presentation last night on the massive Superfund cleanup plan to remove a century's worth of mining contamination from the city. Officials gave the council an overview of the plan in the recently released consent decree that would involve a $150 million cleanup of mine waste along the Silver Bow Creek corridor over the course of the next 5 years. The council, which will have to approve that plan before it can go forward, agreed that more public hearings should be held before it will vote on it. Also in the mining city, a Butte businessman has become the fourth candidate to run for the city's chief executive position. Tom Cronelly, the co-owner of OMG Mongolian Grill in Butte, will run against incumbent Dave Palmer and candidates Brendan McDonough and J.P. Gallagher. Cronelly said his experience in business will make him the best choice for the position.
I really think that Butte could be doing better in a lot of ways. I think we could have a better economy. I think we could have better retail choices. I think we could have more activities for our kids. And I just think there's a lot of tools that I have from my experiences that I can bring to the table that could help make Butte better.
The primary election, of course, is June 2nd, and the top two vote getters will move on to the general election in November. 6:38 now. We're going to take a quick break, but when Montana This Morning continues, Washington State seems to be the center of the coronavirus outbreak. We'll tell you what officials think the connection might be. That's coming up next, and here's what's coming up on CBS This Morning.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, California is under a state of emergency after the first coronavirus death was reported in the state. We're in San Francisco, where a cruise ship with passengers suspected of being infected was supposed to arrive yesterday. We'll also talk to Dr. David Agus about why the virus is spreading so quickly. And Meg Oliver will show the steps schools around the country are taking to protect students and faculty. And in our More Perfect Union series, many veterans who wanted their Purple Hearts never received them, how one tiny organization is working to change that. We'll see you at 7.
Now, here's your Storm Tracker weather forecast with meteorologist Matt Elwell.
Good morning, current time 6:42. We're out on the Billion Auto Weather patio. Fairly clear skies, chilly outside, but not nearly as much wind. In fact, I want to talk a little bit about the wind that we had kicking up out around the area yesterday. It looks like our conditions are going to be fairly mild, at least to start things off. Right now, temperatures are into the teens and 20s, but the peak wind gusts yesterday, 74 in Livingston, Whitehall 47, 44 in Ennis, Butte 51, 54 in Belgrade. Bozeman Pass had 65-mile-an-hour wind gust yesterday. Again, today I expect very clear conditions to start the day. Temperatures into the teens. It is quite chilly, even with a light wind. It feels like it's 11 degrees in the Bozeman area. It feels like it's 8 this morning in Butte, but again, we are starting out the day with clear skies.